I just wanted to do a perfect castle. Somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 of Legos. There are 39,060 pieces in this castle. There is 5 months of paper planning, an enormous amount of flexibility in what you can do with the pieces. Most of what the features in this are derived from real castles. It's a cool hobby. Batterstone is a royal castle. Accompanied by his household knights, the king's coach is driven by footmen wearing chevron liveries. The king visited from London about once a year, arriving in his elegant carriage. The castle was built as a toll station on the banks of the Stafford River. A large merchant ship has been inspected. In the bow, a sailor coils a cable. Amidships, others stow cargo. On the white stern deck, the helmsman steers the wheel just below the ship's lantern. The brown boat davits will raise the small skiff, which is now hurrying back from the customs house with the first mate. The rocky Batterstone, from which the castle gets its name. It used to be a navigation landmark along the river. The river protects one side of the castle. The builders hoped to dig a moat around the other 3 sides, but they ran into bedrock, so they created a rock quarry, hoping to make it a moat eventually. On the nearby riverbank, fishermen return with the day's catch. The distraught wife of a thief, looking at swift and brutal justice, a bloody beheading, and a hooded executioner. Within the dungeon of a nearby tower, a grim interrogator prepares to question another prisoner. A medieval privy, a stone outhouse projecting out from the castle. There was no running water, so people just did their business and human waste fell to the ground outside. The dimensional shift used by the time travelers of Beta Carotene, who commanded me to build the castle when they spoke to me through my Mr. Coffee. This gate, what I call the St. George Gate, is really modeled after the Narbonne Gate in the French walled city of Carcassonne in southern France. In front of it, in front of this gate, there used to be a smaller gate called a barbican, or a forward defense. It's now no longer used as a defense. What they did is they chopped off one of the gate towers. You can still see the black buttresses and the remnants of it, and they now use that for docking ships. And the other tower they turned into a customs house for collecting tolls of boats moving along the river and inspecting cargoes. A cargo boat being inspected, the customs house rowboat. In the background, the St. George Gate. In the foreground, one span of the stone bridge across the Stafford River, with its thick ice shields to protect the pilings. The St. George Gate has 4 obstacles. 2 iron grills, called portcullises, can be lowered into the gatehouse passageway. To prevent treachery, the portcullis winches are worked from 2 locations. The third defense are the heavy doors on the inside of the gatehouse. The 4th obstacle is the drawbridge. Again, to prevent treachery, the drawbridge winch is physically separated from the portcullises. The castle is a large rectangle. Each corner is anchored by a massive tower of gray stone, made stronger by thick black buttresses. The beacon tower is built on the rocky spur of the Batterstone. The tower gets its name from a fire beacon on its lofty turret. If the castle was attacked, straw in the iron bucket could be set on fire, warning the peasants and other nearby castles. For safety, iron grills were closed to prevent embers from setting the roofs on fire. The large corner towers contained barracks, and as a last-ditch defense, the corner towers could be sealed off and resist independently, even if the enemy took other parts of the castle. This corner tower has a gray talus protecting its base. The thick rock of the talus prevents enemy tunneling, and sturdy black buttresses add even more strength. This tower was named after King Edward I, the builder of Batterstone. Like the other corner towers, it has its own water and food supply, and on top, a watch turret with a wide view. Between the corner towers, the castle is enclosed by a curtain wall, a thick gray wall around the entire perimeter of the castle. Along the curtain wall are slender black flanking towers with sturdy gray buttresses. These towers project forward so that soldiers can shoot arrows along the curtain wall to either side. Batterstone's curtain wall is the same height all around the castle, and it has 2 levels. The crenellated upper battlement is open, so that defenders can shift rapidly to any threatened point. The lower battlement is covered. Archers could shoot forward through the white shuttered windows, or shoot straight down the wall through overhanging consoles called machicolations. Holes in the floor let the archers shoot down without exposing themselves. This small door is called a postern, like a back door for messengers, counterattacks, or escape. The passageway can be blocked by lowering a solid black portcullis. This postern was called the Watergate because it was the king's private quay with his sleek royal barge docked alongside. There were racks of weapons along the curtain wall battlements and in each of the flanking towers. The tower defenders did not move about the castle, but they could be reinforced easily by men climbing up ladders through white trap doors in the battlement floor. The blue-roofed Eagle Hall gets its name from the gray stone eagles above the windows. In the background, the colorful striped and checked patterns of Batterstone Hall's roof tiles. The castle is cut in half. If complete, this wall would have 6 flanking towers, not 3. Here is King Edward's Tower, one of the massive corners. The north wall gives you a good view of what an attacker would see. The curtain wall studded with black flanking towers at regular intervals. In the background, a roof is being repaired and retiled. A wagon hauls blue tiles into the courtyard. The new tiles are winched up to the scaffolding platform. These repairs are being made on the king's livery, which contains the quarters of the king's servants. On the highest brown scaffolding, workers are installing new roof beams and joists, through which the gray stone chimneys are visible. On the main scaffolding, the foreman speaks to the winch operator stacking the tiles. Another worker carries tiles on his back and climbs a ladder to an intermediate scaffolding where a roofer sets the new tiles in place. It's thirsty work. Fortunately, there's a handy beer barrel by the Commons Lodge, but it looks like one man-at-arms has had a bit too much. The half-timbered yellow and black Commons Lodge is a friendly meeting place, like an inn or tavern for off-duty soldiers and servants. The upper balcony is a wonderful place for watching the life of the castle. Near the scaffolding is the large red roof of the constable's livery, where his servants live, and the constable's white and red residence. In his absence, the king appointed a constable to command the castle. This is the back facade of the constable's private residence. Note the large black and red oriel window at the end of the building and the ornate banding below the balconies. The roof eaves are supported by decorative hammer beams, and above them are 5 elegant dormer windows. The red and black decoration is repeated on the central spire. On its front, the Constable's Hall has a porch of banded black and red stone. From one of 3 balconies, the Constable's Lady enjoys the view. Above her, the dormers and the spire. The Constable's Hall adjoins the long porch of the Eagle Hall, forming an arcade around the courtyard gardens. The gardens feature the lovely marble fountain, where water flows from an upper pool down to a lower pool. The huge Eagle Hall housed the King's Court whenever he visited. Note the black gutters and downspouts, the many coats of arms, and the elegant white and blue railing. Above the porch, a splendid balcony overlooks the gardens. The black banded decoration uses the ends of timbers which support the upper floor. Along the eaves are the huge black hammer beams supporting the roof and decorated with ornate white and black trophies. Finally, the magnificent dormer windows surmounted by eagle escutcheons and the carved stone eagles from which the hall gets its name. 24 chimneys are needed to heat all the apartments in this massive building. Next to the Eagle Hall stands the striking yellow and black Grand Council Chamber. Here the king would meet with his court and nobles. The council chamber features an elegant porch and a magnificent balcony. The central spire's black and yellow banding also harmonizes nicely with the rest of the building. The Royal Archives was designed by an Italian architect from Pisa and prefigures the Renaissance. The tall central facade features delicate columns of white Carrara marble, arranged as blind arcades, broken by 3 horizontal pediments. The Archives also has a blind arcade at ground level to harmonize with the porch arcades of the other buildings surrounding the gardens. The arcade's slender carved white pillars also harmonize with the garden's lamp. Also note the pillars' square red cushions and rounded red capitals. The central facade. The red window decorations look like scrolls, perfect for a library. Batterstone Hall, an administrative building containing the treasury and other offices. It features boldly patterned roof tiles, which are checkered along the eaves and the central spire, and banded along the roof. At the extreme left, you can see the enormous thickness of the gray curtain wall, its open upper battlement, and its covered lower battlement. It just so happens that the armory is exposed to view. Inside, a soldier sharpens swords on a grindstone. The armory's walls are covered with shields and flags. And on the main floor, there are long central racks containing helmets, lances, and pikes. An old master armorer is teaching an apprentice how to make swords. The forge's chimney goes all the way to the roof. The upper room of the armory contains the expensive plate armor worn by the knights, stored in great chests on shelves along the wall. And to protect the weapons, all the armory windows have heavy iron bars. The castle's interior, with the keep removed for a better view. The white outline shows the keep's location. The great Batterstone Keep itself, however, remains an enigma. We know only that it was built of pure white stone, richly decorated, and contained magnificent royal apartments. It seems strangely appropriate that Batterstone Castle's greatest building was also its greatest mystery.
In my hands, I have some Legos. Yes, this is Tony Pagnotti, looking at a royal king-sized project. We'll have all the little details later on News Channel 2, first at 5.
His castle, but for one Baltimore man, the castle is inside his home. News Channel 2's Tony Pagnotti explains.
Row homes are a common sight in Highlandtown, but at 601 Southeast Street, Steve Thurston has built an empire.
Well, there it is, Batterstone Castle.
The historically accurate medieval facade took 6 months to construct. And would you believe, 39,600 Legos.
I didn't have Legos when I was a kid, so I've only been doing this for maybe about 3 years.
This scriptwriter by trade has always had a fortress fascination.
It's not a romanticized castle like a Walt Disney castle or a Sleeping Beauty castle. It's a castle that might have existed. I tried to come up with almost an invented history, to imagine this castle over a span of 500 years.
In all, there are 250 keepers of the castle, including a brave brigade of knights in shining armor.
And now, what is this right here? It seems like we've got something going on there.
This is a beacon tower. Right up here is a fire beacon. They would set the straw alight, and then to warn the peasants and other castles that if it was under attack. Oh yes, difficult to get into this castle.
When it comes to a good defense, no details are overlooked.
That's why castles hang over at the top, is so that a man up here could shoot an arrow straight down along the wall.
As official courier to the king, I have privileged information from His Royal Majesty that the walls of ye old Royal Batterstone will soon come tumbling down.
It's going to be reduced to plastic rubble.
That's right. In the days of old, it was common knowledge that what goes up must come down.
Probably we can physically get it down in about a day. It'll probably take me about 2 days to recatalog the pieces and store them all. Tony, if you'd give me a hand with this thing here.
Very careful not to make it a fallen empire before its time. I'm Tony Pagnotti, News Channel 2.
With a last look at the weather.
And everyone has their dream house, but not that many people actually build it, especially in their living room.
All right, thank you, Steve. Well, it's sometimes said that a man's home is his castle.
But this particular castle is made of Legos. Scriptwriter Steve Thurston says that he wouldn't mind living in this one. It took him 11 months to design and build this 33-square-foot castle made of more than 39,000 Lego pieces. Thurston says his love of medieval history drove him to create this wonderful plastic wonder.
Architecture, and I enjoyed this period in history. So it's sort of a composite of castles that actually exist or could exist, but you people it with your own imagination.
Thurston hopes to send the Lego company photographs of this $2,000 Lego masterpiece. And, of course, the castle remains on display in his living room, open to the public until next month when he tears it down to begin his next Lego adventure.
Hope he doesn't pay another $2,000 for the next one.
He's going to have to get a bigger house if it goes any bigger.
I'll say.
Finally tonight, Knights of the Round Table and other bits of medieval history are coming to life in Highlandtown. Steve Thurston has spent the last 11 months putting together a 33-foot castle using 39,000 Lego pieces. Now it has working drawbridges and gates, a king's apartment, and even a fire beacon that lights up in times of trouble. Steve's traveled throughout Europe, and his creation is a combination of several castles he visited. He spent 5 months just in the design phase. Thurston says he enjoys giving kids in the neighborhood a hands-on lesson in medieval history.
But a Highlandtown man builds his. He loves castles, and he has designed and built one of the most elaborate structures we've ever found in Maryland. Bye, George.
can build almost anything from Lego sets, but I don't think Lego ever dreamed of anything as elaborate as this. This is an historically plausible three-dimensional dream. It took 11 months to build, 5 of which were devoted to planning, which produced architectural drawings and notes 3/4 of an inch thick. It incorporates and extends ideas gathered from castles in Europe. There are 39,600 pieces in this imaginary British castle, and its name is Batterstone, which alliterates very nicely with Thurston, the name of its builder. Steve Thurston is a scriptwriter by profession. Creating castles and inventing worlds that never were is the way he relaxes. Many parts of the castle work like the real thing. Iron gates drop into place at the main gate, and the drawbridge can be raised. The gates and the bridge are attached to winches, just as they were in the days of knights and kings. It's amazing.
It's like working a large jigsaw puzzle in 3 dimensions, only instead of making it look like it's the picture on the box, you get to invent it out of your own head, out of your own imagination. And so it's the challenge of designing it, creating it, and seeing it change in front of your eyes.
Batterstone Castle by Steve Thurston, the most elaborate castle that ever was, especially in Maryland. By George.
Like many a proud and ancient fortress, Batterstone Castle was reduced to rubble long ago. Its strong walls, its lofty towers, its grand halls, all disappeared utterly, leaving no trace that it ever existed, except in misty legends and indestructible dreams.